Well, we
Yeah.
are live.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great Monday after the Mother's Day. I hope all the mothers had a great day.
Yeah, for sure. For
Um,
sure.
are you a mother, Selena?
I am. I am. I have two boys. One that will be 18 this year, and one that just turned 3 in April. So, you know, decided to have a wide span there.
Okay, so I hope you had a great Mother's Day,
I did. I did. It was lovely. It was lovely.
and and I hope Alia did too. Although she can tell you, she cannot tell us right now. Uh, So today we have Selina Fox, and we're going to talk to her in a little bit. Uh, Two things. Number one, the hashtag. Alia, have you selected one? You can put it in the chat. Fox. How about Fox? Hashtag Fox. Fox. And we have
Sitting
the great, the legend, the man, the myth,
crazy man.
Dr. Guilt here. How are you doing this morning?
I'm sorry. I was just chit chatting with someone before I came on the live, but I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay.
I'm
All
doing
right.
good. Selena,
Well,
how are you
Aya,
doing?
I'm doing really well. Doing really well. Excited to be here and actually talk to all of you guys. Well, except for Miss Alia, since she's silent today.
She's having some technical difficulties. So
Well, that's all
before
right.
we,
She's here to moderate.
I just wanted to let you know, everyone who's here, and we'll repeat it later. If you're not a member of the Kills Mighty Tribe, go to drkills.com, sign up. It's going to cost you nothing. It's going to cost you putting your email so we know where to send stuff. Uh, and hashtag Fox for a giveaway, which Ali is going to tell us in a moment what it is.
I get it.
Um, and we have a few links on the description. So if you want to look at the description, the link for the sign up for the Kids Money Tribe is there. Um, the link for consultation with me is there. And you can look up at Kids Meetups to find out where we're going to be next. Next for us is going to be traveling this week to Meatstock 2025 in Tennessee.
Woo!
And we get to see Alia again. Maybe she'll talk, maybe not. All right. So, Selena, I'm going to just let you tell your story. Tell us who you are first. We already
Okay.
know you're a mother of two.
Yep.
Uh, and you just told me you were in North Carolina, in the United
Yes,
States,
yes.
by the way.
In the United States, by the way, just to be clear.
And just take it away. Just let us know who you are, how you got here, what you've been doing with your diet, what health troubles you've had.
Gosh, that's a list longer than I think I have time for. Uh, but obviously, I'm Selena Fox. I grew up in Southern California, moved to the East Coast, North
Where,
Carolina, and
where in Southern California?
I grew up in Ventura, Oxnard area. So about 45 minutes outside of LA. Most people know where LA is. Hardly anybody knows where Oxnard is. So I don't usually get any response on that one when they're like, "Oh, yeah." But ended up on the East Coast, and really, I mean, I liked it here, but grew up sort of vegan, vegetarian for a good part of my younger life, and seemed okay with that, it seemed. But as I got older, I developed a lot of different things. I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia when I was 12 and sort of had to start watching what I ate then, but nobody prescribed anything about whether or not I should have no processed sugars or, or anything like that. So pretty much had a standard American diet, I would say, on average for most of my teenage through adulthood. It wasn't until after I had my first son, who will be 18 this year, that I started to have major, like, a health decline. I ate healthy, according to what people said. You know, I hardly ever ate junk food. I rarely ate out. And I did all the, right things. You get your 5 fruits and vegetables, and I did juicing and smoothies and, you know, the healthy things. And I was very sick. I went from being like a normal weight to gaining about 70 pounds in less than a year. And it didn't seem to matter what I did. And when I went to the doctors telling them different things like, my gosh, I'm really tired and I can't seem to ever get enough sleep. I could sleep 12 hours a day and I wake up as if I've not slept in a week, and I'm getting dizzy spells all the time. And gosh, I can't seem to get this weight off. And no matter what I do, I'm gaining it. And the answer that they all gave me every single time, every doctor I went to was, well, if you'll just lose the weight, these symptoms will go away. And it's like, well, I can't even figure out how I'm gaining all of this weight, let alone try to lose it. And I ended up, of course, in the whole like calories in, calories out. I was eating anywhere between 8 to 1,200 calories a day, but also working out 2 to 3 times a day, trying to like get this weight off. But I just felt like garbage. I couldn't seem to have any energy. And there was like a lot of other things that I was noticing, like my hair was really, really thin, and I used to have really thick hair. And it was like, okay, my hair's thinning out, and I'm tired, and I'm gaining all this weight. And every story that I got was, you're just fat. And you just need to lose weight. And once you lose all this weight, then, all these symptoms you're experiencing will go away. So I did. I pretty much like starved myself, worked out to death. I ended up losing about 112 pounds while being sick, not realizing I was sick because I couldn't get anybody to run any kind of tests or look at anything because it obviously was just my weight. And that was so disturbing. Um, Finally, at one point, I got one doctor who was outside of the endocrinologist that I got sent to. And I said, look, I need these tests done. I'm just, whatever it is, if I've got to pay for it out of pocket, whatever I've got to do, just can you please just take a look at what I'm asking for? And she said, well, we'll run these tests. Some blood work came back funny, and she referred me over to an endocrinologist here in town, which I live in a very small town. I mean, like really small town. And they ran some tests, did an ultrasound, discovered I had a 4.3 centimeter tumor on my right thyroid lobe, immediately sent off for biopsy. And of course, it came back cancerous. And they told me immediately, your only option is radiation or removal. This is it. And I was like, well, what does that mean? If I don't have a thyroid, what do I have to do? And he said, well, you'll have to live on this medication. And, for the rest of your life, you're just going to have to take this every single day. And my mom was sort of in the forefront of like holistic medicine when I was a child. And like, there's other options and we can do things. And when he said that I was going to have to live on some sort of synthetic chemical for the rest of my life, my brain just was like, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem okay. And I left and I refused treatment. And I started basically hyper researching everything I possibly could to figure out one, what causes thyroid issues, why do we have them, what's wrong with the body that starts before them. And it seemed like a no-brainer common sense thing to come to, that holy crap, this is because of my food. My body is so out of balance because of what I'm eating or not eating. And we have cells. They duplicate, they replicate, they repair, we get rid of them. I mean, I was an esthetician. I understood, like cell renewal. And it was like, well, if we can renew bad cells, we can renew good cells. So there has to be a repair that we can do. We're meant to heal.
Hey, Selina, I apologize to interrupt.
Yeah.
Is there a mic change that you could do, or are you?
Let me see.
For
Am I
some
too loud or
reason-
too quiet?
No. We're
No.
getting a reverberation from. I think you're. I mean, I'm going to use this. I apologize. It's
No.
tolerable and acceptable, but if there's
Hold on.
either a change in like a plug-in, I don't know what it
Let me
is.
see. Let me see.
There's like a
Are
boom.
you working from your earphones?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have other
Should I take them
microphones?
out?
Or maybe just
Just the iPad itself?
can you do
See
that?
if you-
Try that.
Try
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hold on one
Maybe.
second.
Yeah, we're patient. I'm sorry.
No, don't
Thank
be
you, everyone,
sorry.
for being
Apologize
patient. We have
for technical difficulties this morning.
Can you hear me?
No.
Yes,
Oh.
finally.
Wait. Oh, now you can really hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're waiting on Selina to see if we can do something to her.
All right.
Now she's muted.
No, we can't hear you this moment.
can
Just
hear
make sure
you
you get the right microphone.
Now, okay, talk.
Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's better. Oh, much better.
See if you can
Okay.
raise the microphone a little bit more.
Me?
We got you.
You're
Yes,
good.
Alina, if you can raise your microphone, volume.
Volume.
You guys can do that.
Yeah. So you were talking about cellular regeneration, cellular damage, cellular health.
Right.
Another doctor addressed your food.
Right, because it just seems so like logical that it's like, well, if our cells renew and they replicate and they reproduce, whether it's good or bad, whatever's there is going to be what it replicates. So there has to be a way to decide, the body to decide, we pick this over that. And so obviously huge research journey on food, only to discover that sadly in the medical world, there wasn't a lot of understanding or recognition or help from the doctors beyond what is just generally brochured to them. And I got that, and I have a lot of compassion for that, because there's so much information that doctors have to try to learn, have to try to know. There's no way for one person to be this mass expert across every diagnosis that could ever possibly walk in your office, right? I mean, it's challenging. Exactly. Yes. And so
Crazy.
I started learning what foods affected my thyroid, and I started eliminating and hyper supplementing because my panels, like I was plummeted on everything. It was like across the board. The only thing I wasn't plummeted on were my thyroglobulins were like off the charts. They couldn't even measure them. They were off so much so. And it led me to, at the time, I called it keto at the time, but what I've learned later on was that it was closer to an animal-based carnivore style, but I didn't really know what that was because this was in 2017. And I removed all growth plants. I removed all sugars. I removed, all breads. And I went through that whole elimination, and I called it keto because I didn't know any better at the time. But I started that. I started basically implementing a lot of vitamin D and different things like that. And over the course of a couple years, I noticed I felt better. Like I felt amazing. And I decided, thanks to the push of my husband in 2021, okay, it's time for me to go back. I need to get another biopsy done. I could still feel that I still had a growth, but it was like, I don't have any of the symptoms that I'm experiencing from before. It's time to retest. It's time to see where I'm at, because obviously I'm not getting worse. And when they did my biopsy in May, I think it was, of 2021, I came back completely cancer-free. Couldn't find cancer cells. They did 3 different biopsies from that one, and they were like, "This is unreal," because they had all my charts from before too, going, "This isn't even possible." And I'm like, "Well, nothing's impossible." And obviously, you can see this is what has happened. And they, of course, were like, "Well, what have you been taking, and what kind of, what medicines are you on?" And the doctors kind of went into like a weird place for me with a little bit. But I was like, well, I changed my food. I changed my diet. I got rid of pretty much most all like plants and fruits and vegetables and carbs. And of course, the one doctor, he said, "Well, you're not eating red meat, are you?" Well, in fact, that's mostly what I'm eating. And he was like, "Well, that just can't be the reason why this has happened. We don't know what's happened."
Wow.
Well, it's okay. Like, I don't care what you think, because I know what I've experienced. Like, I get it. It's not common. You don't see this every day. And at that point, though, I was still having really high thyroglobulins. And I know it's because my body was still trying to go, what is this foreign object we have on your thyroid? It's not going away. And I learned that I was able to survive off of half of my thyroid. And I decided to go ahead and have a hemithyroidectomy. And I did that. And that was in June of 2021. And apparently my body responded really well, because less than 6 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant with my second son.
Wow.
So I went 15 years not conceiving at all, ever. And at 38, my body went, "All right, we're ready, let's go." And so now I have a beautiful 3-year-old. So
I love that.
yeah, so
I'm sorry. I may have missed this. Did you have
That's okay.
radiation?
No, I did not.
No.
I refused
Wow.
radiation. I refused removal at the time, because they wanted to remove my entire thyroid when I went in. And
Did they give you any other therapy?
no, I refused all suggestions from my first endocrinologist.
You have a comment, Dr. Kilt. Go ahead.
Oh, no, she's muted. You're muted again. Selina's muted.
Dr. Kilt, go ahead.
Oh, was I going to say, Selena, you were muted a second there. No, I saw a comment about glycosylation. I didn't know what it went to there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Period.
Brandon was, I guess someone else was making a comment. I missed that.
So
Yes,
did we?
Go ahead.
Did we ever figure out the cause of your thyroid problems?
Oh, now she's muted and she can't hear. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can't hear her for the moment now.
Okay.
We lost Selena. Can't hear her.
And she doesn't hear us either.
It's not something I can fix on this side.
Probably a setting on her part.
Yeah.
Selena needs to check Selena.
I mean, I can hear typing.
That was me in the chat.
Oh, okay.
To
No,
the message to Selena, because she can see.
Yeah.
She could see. For some reason, we've lost connection there. But ultimately, goitrogens, which basically all the plants that cause damage to the thyroid gland, and it's our plant protein low fat diet that's killing us. Is it that simple, doctor?
It is, and very often doctors will blame, like in her case, oh, it's got to be your weight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the weight gain and the obesity are just a result of whatever else is also causing the problems. It's not
Right.
I don't think it's the cause of the problems directly. It's just another symptom. And when you do studies, you find obesity and you find this long list of things that have happened at the same time. Oh, it's got to be the obesity that's causing those things. But I don't think that's the case.
Selena, do we have you back?
I think so.
Yay!
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. What a morning. What a Monday.
Well, it's learning all the technical difficulties now.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So is hypertension the cause of disease?
Hypertension. I think
so
I don't think hypertension.
I wonder, what are your thoughts, Dr. Nelson? I mean, have we seen the prospective randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study on hypertension treatment?
Okay.
No.
You're asking me a straight question. I have to answer yes for some things, but the hypertension also happens to be, like I mentioned with the obesity, something that's being caused by the same thing that's causing all the problems, the inflammation, so having hypertension, in addition to whatever else is happening, will increase your risk of having certain problems. In particular, strokes is the number one that comes to my mind. But the problem is not the hypertension, is most likely, like you like to say, the plant-based low-fat diet, which is causing inflammation. And there is a pathway from excessive carbohydrate consumption to hypertension. So
Yeah.
I don't like to see extremely high blood pressure, but we need to treat the root cause of what's causing all this.
I mean, is our body supposed to get fat, or is it supposed to be skinny?
That's what's going to happen when you feed it. We got to get ready for the winter, for the famine.
The hibernation, migration, gestation.
So, it is normal for females to gain weight when they're pregnant. And it's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Richard Hepburn has a question. Anyone here? He's on Kilt's Mighty Tribe. Is there a connection between cholesterol levels and vitamin D production?
No idea, but that's a great question.
The answer is a straight yes, because you need cholesterol to produce vitamin D, because cholesterol is a precursor of vitamin D.
So is low vitamin D good for us?
No.
And is low cholesterol good for us? I mean, my question, low cholesterol. Is low cholesterol helpful for us?
No.
I don't know. Most people that make it to 100 have high levels of cholesterol.
Yeah, my parents 94, my grandmother 104.
Yeah, my great grandmother, who was 107, and she was still working her garden, cooking her own food, and farming her own farm at 107 years old, and she mostly ate red meat, fats, and rarely on occasion she ate potatoes. That was it. But her daughter, my grandmother, her granddaughter, my grandmother. Let me get that right. Hold on. Great grandmother, her daughter. She only lived to be about 80, but she, started eating more of what we consider a standard diet now. She went through the whole like low fat margarine phase, what was that diet pill that they used in the 50s? She did a lot of that. And there was a huge difference between how my great grandmother was in comparison to my grandmother. And I mean, my father now, it's like, well, yeah, there's I can see an actual visual difference between the generations and the food shifts that happened as to what their health has become. It's very interesting. I would say high cholesterol is probably much better for us.
Well, maybe this term high cholesterol. I mean, ultimately, eat fatty meat, stay away from plants, and stop measuring anything.
Yeah. Throw out the processed foods.
Well, is salad from our garden processed?
Well, it depends on what you're putting in the salad, because most of our vegetables aren't even original to what they were before. So it's like I would consider that maybe not industrialized processed, but it's still processed from what it originally was.
Throw away the plants.
Mm-hmm.
Because is corn and rice good for us, or they're survival foods for us?
I would say survival foods for sure. I mean, if you're going through an extreme like mass famine and your herds are all non-existent, well, I guess you're going to eat something to survive, but it's not something we would have eaten regularly by any means.
I mean, essentially corn and rice and wheat. In order to get any significance of it, you have to have slaves, soldiers, peasants, prisoners, and industrial farming. Essentially, is what we do today. But even way back when, I mean, if you have a piece of bread from time to time, it's not your killer. It's all the time. It's a daily. What we call it, our daily bread. But the daily bread was actually manna, which is the mind game, not the.
In addition to that, though, at least in most parts of the world today, the corn that is being produced, farmed, is not real corn. It's a genetically modified thing.
Yeah.
And we can go down, the rabbit hole there. Wheat, same thing. So they were not great to begin with, and then we have modified. And I read a book, Metabolical, by Dr. Robert Lustig. I recommend it. Metabolical is called, aptly named. And he explains many of these things, the alteration of food.
But in essence, we've created a food source that is more reliable than we've ever had before.
To feed the masses, yeah.
Right. So more people are able to live and survive longer than ever before. And so, we're pretty amazing in our ability to develop, to change, to grow and create things. And so, a ear of corn from time to time is not sure gonna get you.
Yeah.
But it's our lack of fatty red meat. And Schlink says just add fatty red meat 3 times a day and you'll be healthier than ever before.
Yeah.
In one of your books, you have a quote from Barry Groves, PhD. Civilized man is the only animal clever enough to manufacture its own food, and the only animal stupid enough to eat it.
Where'd you get that?
This is
Oh,
what are we giving today, Alia?
What are we giving away today?
Yeah.
A Kilts Cup.
hashtag.
Fantastic hashtag box for a Kilts Cup. Put that
Yeah.
in the chat. In the chat.
Oh man. How do I hashtag
Oh,
right.
right
So
now?
we're clever enough to make it our own food and stupid enough to eat it. Is the bottom line.
Yeah.
What did you get? Did you get that from Carnivore Bar?
Okay. Nope.
They're sending you something.
Those are cups, I think.
Oh!
About 50 new cups. So anyone wants to buy a cup, we got cups.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
So-
bring those to Meat Stock also? And I can sell them at the booth. Or no?
I'm not
We'll
gonna
have
bring-
other merch. Okay, we got a bunch of merch at Meat
This
Stock.
is
No
going
worries.
welcome. He's going to get that.
Okay,
And so we got, I don't know, we got books and all those sort of things at Meat Stock coming up. I know a lot of people are going. So, Selina, so what's your, tell us a little bit about your passion in going online and sharing your stories and helping heal.
My passion there, once I started like official carnivore, which wasn't until October of 2024, like that, like full, I know exactly what this is. This is what we're definitely eliminating. And I saw even better benefits mentally, emotionally, obviously physically, because even when I was on like a mostly animal-based diet, but not quite carnivore, my joints still hurt. Like I still had like little annoyances that didn't seem to go away. And once becoming carnivore and those things went away, it was just kind of like, holy crap, everybody needs to know about this. This is something that is being, held in the shadows way too long. I think February, I opened my Instagram account basically like, I don't know who's out here and I don't know who needs to hear this, but if I can help anybody, like, let me be a foghorn. Hello, we're here. Like, you can do better. This is an option and you have options. And so that part is a very passionate aspect for me. People understanding that, nothing against doctors, I love them. There's a place for Western medicine in our world. I think it's just been ran with too long in the wrong direction. And so many people don't understand that they have choice over their own decision as to what happens to their body. They have choice to decide whether they want treatment, whether they don't. They have choice to know that there are other options than what is just being laid in front of them in the doctor's office. And not that there's not a place for the doctor's office, because I'm a balanced person as far as like understanding that there are uses. There are times and places I am going to want an emergency room if I get into a car accident. I'm going to want, these things. But I think there's been this ideology that's been lost for people that they have choice for their own body, and that just because this was recommended to them does not mean that it is the end all be all of the only option they have. And that part is what I'm passionate about most, is making sure people know that there are options out there, and it might not look like what your doctor is prescribing. It might not look like what's being recommended, because they themselves might not even know that this is an option. So that is what my passion is getting people to feel better, to feel like themselves, to be more aligned with themselves mentally, spiritually, physically. Like, the connection that you have with just understanding your own self is so much bigger than what you can experience on a standard diet. being filled with all these inflammatory foods because your brain can't even function or process clarity. That's my passion. That's what I want for the world.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Should we get some questions as we're going here?
Yeah. Let's get some questions. Let's look at this one. Kate Sprague, I wonder why cancer in the thyroid and not everywhere else in the body. Did you have hypo or hyperthyroidism? Yeah. What did you say? I'm sorry.
No, I had hypothyroidism. And when they were doing my first biopsy, they also went through and checked a lot of my lymph nodes because they were concerned that it was spreading to my lymph system. And I happened to be fortunate enough that had not happened. That is not the case for a lot of people. So that why it didn't go anywhere else, and the only answer I can give to that is the possibility, and this is just my theory, not anything I could attest to otherwise, but is my mom was very adamant, even though I was on a very plant-based diet, that I did not have a lot of processed foods and a lot of processed sugars growing up as a child. I didn't have a candy bar until I was probably like almost 12 years old. I had never had candy. I had fruit and I had like natural sugars, right? But I didn't have a lot of processed stuff. So the only thing I can say is that there were a lot of things that already weren't necessarily a part of my diet that maybe gave me a stronger foundation to be more resilient in certain ways. I think if I had had a lot of the things that I see a lot of people eat now regularly, I don't think I would have been as resilient to not have had it spread to a lot of other areas in my body. That is
You were
opinion.
infertile, was that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave birth.
Is that actually the biggest disease we suffer from? Because if you don't reproduce, it's like not living, because all organisms are alive just for reproduction. So when we're not reproducing, there's something wrong with us.
Exactly.
And in essence, the goitrogens, the plants that damage the thyroid gland damage every organ system of our body. It's not thyroid dysfunction that causes our other diseases. It's the same products that damage every single organ system of our body, which is kind of an interesting concept, I think. So
and that was kind of the common sense part that I came to when I started like researching about, well, what is it that I've been doing to my body that caused me to get here? And I don't think enough people look at it that way. I think more people look at, well, I got this, and because of this, I have all these other things. And it's like, well, no, all of those other things came along and you ended up with this, not the other way around. For sure.
Here's one more part of the question. What was your iodine intake prior to carnivore?
Oh, non-existent. I never ate iodized salt, so that already was not even something I had. My iodine levels were really low. So when I did start doing like supplementation, there were things where I was doing like iodine patches on my arm for a while to see where I was in the earlier beginnings of trying to figure out what was going on with me. So prior to carnivore, nothing. Didn't.
Dr. Nelson, in your practice of medicine, how often did you draw a iodine level?
It is not a frequent thing.
Is our problem iodine deficiency, or is it likely the goitrogens that damage the thyroid gland? It's kind of like vitamin D deficiency. I don't know. For some reason, I think when we measure our blood levels, like my vitamin D is low, but I don't have rickets. I don't have any other. So in the scheme of what the laboratory results are that have been reported, I'm in the low range, but I don't have a physical problem related to that. And I'm just wondering if a lot of our numbers might be inaccurate. At the cellular level, what does it mean?
There are many ways that we can talk about this. Number one, not everybody that has a number out of range will develop the most common diseases that we know about that, right? It also depends how low it is. There are so many factors, but uh, the goitrogenic foods are the ones that probably are causing more damage than whatever level of iodine, in this case, might be affecting the person. Because the goitrogenic foods, one of the things they do is they interfere with that, with the whole iodine cascade. And if we didn't have the goitrogenic foods, for example, whatever level of iodine you had might be enough for you, even if you end up measuring and doing any, even if you measure and you determine that it was low. But what other foods that you had? I mean, do you have seafood? Do you have
Yeah, as
iodine
far as
containing
here,
foods
what
before all this happened, or not?
did I have seafood? No. Which is funny because I live in probably one of the most like seafood based like towns. I live in SODX, which is Southern Outer Banks, so I have access to some of the best seafood. But before that, there was always this like worry that was instilled in me about, you can't eat too much seafood, you can't eat too much of this because you're going to end up with mercury issues, and you're going to end up with this, and you're going to end up with that. And so I was always like very hesitant. Whereas now I go, well, big portion of some of my like vitamin deficiencies that I had was because I didn't introduce any of these foods often, and I should have. I do now.
Do you
Although I don't.
supplement iodine now?
No, not at
No.
all. No, not at all. I did when I first started like researching into my whole dive. I did about, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, I think it was, that I did like the iodine patches where I would just leave it on and like swipe on that section on your arm. And I did that for about 2 weeks. And then one of the things that I noticed was the more I started eliminating a lot of the like vegetables and stuff that I was eating, the less I needed it. I didn't need, like, it was staying on my arm longer and it wasn't absorbing as much. So I thought that was rather interesting. But I haven't supplemented with iodine in probably 3 years.
I like to think of this particular issue. I think most people here will understand the carbohydrate, the sugar competition with vitamin C, for example, just to draw a parallel.
Right.
Red meat does have some vitamin C, but it's very low, in low by the standards that we have created.
Right.
But people who are on a very low carbohydrate diet or zero carb diet don't need that much vitamin C. When you're on a very
No.
high
And
carbohydrate
if you
diet,
do
you
eat,
do need to have more vitamin C. So
Mhm.
there is a specific
Right.
explanation for that, but the bottom line is you need less, and that probably happens with many other
Right.
nutrients, vitamins,
Yeah.
things like that. And
I
it
would
sounds
say so
that
too.
probably the iodine is a similar story.
I absolutely would agree. One of the interesting factors that I came to when I was researching about food was coming to the understanding about how, okay, if I eat this vegetable, now I need to supplement this vitamin or this nutrient because it robs me of this. And there was like this cycle of going, okay, I eat this, now I need to add this in, but I ate this today, so now I need to add this in because this is pulling from my bones and this is pulling from this organ and this is taking away from my this vitamin. And it was like I was chasing this cycle, which is what really like was this like light bulb moment of like, wait a minute. If I eat mostly meats and I eat mostly this and it's not robbing my body of anything else, why am I eating all of these other things where I'm chasing this cycle? It's like I'm chasing my tail to keep up with what I'm being robbed of or given. Oh, this is giving me this, but it's taking away this, but this is giving me that. Now it makes sense to me as human beings that we would have been cycling around these plants trying to supplement all these things that the other plants are robbing us of. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But I'm wondering if the story of supplements, minerals and vitamins, and our deficiencies are really back to poisonings by plants, because has supplementation healed or cured anything? The FDA puts makes us put a disclaimer on our supplements that says there's no claim of healing anything. Although the FDA will give you a license of, it's like insulin, obviously, or some other drugs that are used. You can make claims if you've got but for supplements, no. So is it possible we've marketed this idea that we have deficiencies was also wrong? Because by simply,
I don't think we really, I don't think we would have really ended up with the deficiencies that we have now, or the cycle of those particular markers getting out of range, or whatever that range is supposed to be. I don't think we would have ever come to this place if we hadn't started this cycle of eliminating the very foods that actually nourish our body and trying to overcompensate all of the things that we needed by forcing a diet on our system that wasn't made for us. We wouldn't have had any issues with it, in my opinion.
And eliminating the poisonous plants. I think we don't give enough truth to our problem is not nutritional deficiencies. It's we're poisoned by products that are made from plants and microbes. Could that be the simple story to all of this? I'm curious.
I would have to beg that, from my experience, and I can attest to my experience that, once I started eliminating those, I no longer have the issues that I was having my whole life.
Because if you eat, let's just say you eat meat and you eat plants, we are finding a lot of what we call diseases and deficiencies. If you eliminate the plants and stick to the meat, then the deficiencies and the diseases seem to fall away. So, in fact, we don't have a deficiency. We have diseases all caused by this idea of the goitrogens and in the plant poisonings, like Sally Norton's book. I don't have a copy of it here. Toxic superfoods that ultimately oxalates, phytates, lectins. I mean, did we learn about those in medical school, Dr. Nelson?
I don't remember.
All right. I know years ago.
It was just a couple years ago, right, Dr. Nelson?
So Selina, what is your purpose and plan on this journey to help others?
My purpose and plan on this journey is coaching others on I call it a primal alignment, carnivore diet, lifestyle, but in alignment with the whole body, the mind, body, and spirit, all in alignment. You can't reach all of those if you're being poisoned and sick.
How do we
So
inspire?
that is my
Love it. I love it. How do we inspire the allopathic medical system? I mean, one is we could blow it up and eliminate it completely, but probably not going to happen, and probably not complete value. What can we do sort of to inspire people like Dr. Nelson to come over to the carnivore side?
I think my perspective on that is to be the example. I mean, the standard concept. If you show up and you show in your own example how this is, and you're able to start stepping forward into these areas and these platforms and these arenas in your whole embodiment of what this is, it's hard to ignore when you stand in front of somebody and you know the truth of what they have experienced. It's hard to ignore that. And if we find ourselves in the arenas, which I know that you guys are all pushing yourself into, which I am so grateful for, in these arenas in front of everybody for the health, and they can't ignore the vitality that everybody is experiencing, that they are not getting the answers through a standard medical system. They're not getting it. It's not happening there. So how do you ignore it when it shows up in your field and go, wait a minute, what's that guy doing over there? What's he doing? Because I want to understand that. I want to know that. I want to be that.
Be the example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Any other questions here? How are we doing on cues?
We got a couple more questions. Selina, do you drink bone broth from Eve Medworth?
I do drink bone broth. I make my own. So we save all of our bones and carcasses from all the different meats that we have in about, I'd say once every 2 weeks. I make a big batch, which usually gives me about 8 quarts. And my children, my husband, we all, eat off of that throughout the week as we see fit.
Someone was asking
Nice.
about how to store it. How do you store it?
So I personally, I put it in a mason jar, seal the lid, put it in the fridge. It doesn't last long enough that I need to store it too long. Not in my house. It usually lasts about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. But
How
my 3-year-old
long do you simmer?
So I usually do about 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
So that's my preference. If I'm in a time crunch, I will use the Instapot. Exactly. Yes. That's the good stuff.
Do we have Sally K. Norton?
Instapot, it's usually like a couple hours.
Yep, Instapot it.
What?
Instapot, 2 hours.
Is Sally Norton coming on with us soon?
Yeah, soon. At the end of the month, she'll be on. I will give you the exact date. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. How long did it take you to feel better on carnivore?
So once I started full carnivore, I would say for me it was about a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A little less than 2 weeks, but I started noticing significant increase within the first few days. Yep. Now, my husband, on the other hand, it took him a little bit longer than myself, which was funny because when he started, there was nothing wrong. Like, he didn't have anything. There was no major whatevers. But he had never done any type of elimination before in his life. And so there was I think a lot of detoxing happening for him those first couple of
So he didn't know
weeks.
how good he could feel, right?
Exactly. And he goes, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what was wrong with me, like that I was hurting and that I was so inflamed. And there are benefits. He's like, I didn't know I was sick. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing.
We're in a fog. You know, it's sort of like when you finally, you know, you fix your eyesight or your hearing, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know, right? Absolutely.
Exactly.
We have another question. Selena, can you tell us what a typical day's menu looks like for you and your family, I guess?
A typical day's menu, for the most part, what is it? That whole KISS system, keep it simple, silly. I'm getting you silly and not stupid, but pretty much every morning we all have scrambled eggs every morning, depending on who of us is eating it. And then for me, about 3 or 4 hours later, I'll usually have either about a pound of ground beef with maybe a little bit more butter, or I'll have like T-bone steaks are my favorite. I'll have a T-bone steak, preferably. And it's, you know, waters and salts and stuff from there. And it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. My littlest one, my 3-year-old, he usually eats eggs. He likes little fried chicken pieces. He also eats, he loves the bone broth. And he actually eats a lot of raw steak more often than he eats cooked steak. So if I'm doing any salting on the steaks on the counter, I have to be careful because I'll turn around and one of them's gone.
How old is he? How old is he?
He just turned 3 in April. Yeah, so.
And he'll have the raw meat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he like, and I've never just offered it to him, not because I thought anything about it. There was a couple months ago, I had set the steaks on the counter to, you know, get to room temperature. I had sprinkled some salt on them, and I had turned around and I was doing something else in the kitchen, and I turned back around and he had the whole ribeye. He was just going down, and I was like, okay. I mean,
I love it.
So now if I don't want him to hijack him too soon, I have to put him on a different part of the counter. But yeah, so it's, I mean, and my husband eats about the same thing as I do. He's, you know, scrambled eggs in the afternoon. He'll have something else, but not much.
Do the kids have any fruits?
Okay, so our 3-year-old usually only gets that if we go to visit his Mimi or his Gigi's house.
Are those grandmas?
So other than, other than that, we try to avoid it like the plague because he does not do well with it. It is it's really wild to see when you have a little one that is all egg-based. When he has any of the fruit sugars response that he has, where he cannot emotionally regulate through any moments of discord, it is vastly different. And so we pretty much, in our house, we don't buy them. So the rest of our family is not carnivore as far as our extended families. So when we go there, of course, they're all like, well, can't he just have some blueberry or a piece of banana? And we're like, well, of course he can have a little bit. But we have come to a point now where we almost negate that most of the time too, because it's just it's not worth it.
What do they think about your diet?
So some of our family is like rah, full support. They get it. They can't quite see themselves jumping over onto the good side yet.
Not yet.
But they're supportive. Not yet, right? But some of them, it's very challenging for them, especially with our kids. So that part, some of them do have a hard time understanding that these foods, eating the rainbow is not really the greatest concept.
Marketing
so we
to
do
misery.
Mhm.
Marketing
get a
to
little
misery.
bit of pushback. Exactly. And so that part can be challenging sometimes, but that's one of the um, blessings about being
Yeah.
a parent is they're
Mhm.
your kids. You have the say so.
It's all to the
that part is.
There we go. Are we ready for the giveaway?
Absolutely.
Let's
It's
do this. You guys all got one more second to put
Sometimes.
#Fox in there because I'm about to hit
Take it as
the
time.
draw button.
We gotta hit it. I got a 7:00.
Oh yeah, you got to go because we're
Well, I
starting a
gotta
lot
go.
later.
You guys finish it up. Selena, it's a pleasure.
Bye, Dr. Kills.
Love you guys. Thank you,
It was
everyone.
lovely.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Yes.
Yay, Megan Romero. Good job. Woo! You got to email me, alia@drkills.com, and I'll get you your cup. There you go.
Well, thank you very much, Samantha. I mean, Selena. Sorry, I don't know why I thought. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Selena. It's
Of
been a
course.
pleasure.
Yeah, it's been
Great
awesome.
story. I love stories of healing, and we are sharing in those stories and trying to spread the word. Where can people find you?
Mostly on my Instagram at Primal Fox Health. I am slowly kind of tinkering over into YouTube, but I'm not as prevalent there. But my Instagram at Primal Fox Health is where you can find me, and
Awesome.
I'm happy to see everybody over there.
Mhm.
All righty. And I did forget at the beginning to say something. I'm going to mention it now, but we're sorry if we missed any of your questions. Sometimes we cannot get to all of them. We now are monetized on the channel, and if you want your question to be highlighted, sending a super chat will automatically put it in our queue to address. But so,
Yeah.
I mean, we try to address all the questions as much as we can. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
Alia.
I was going to say, like, if there are super chat questions during a live stream, and even if Dr. Kiltz has to go, we'll just stay on and make sure they get answered between my specialty, being a specialist. I'm just joking, and Dr. Nelson. We'll make sure we get any answered. Selena, thank you so much. It was great. Great to have you.
Thank you very much,
Of
Selena. And
Yeah.
you have a great day.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.